What's the old song say? Speed bunny boat like a bird on the wing, over the sea to sky. so, so that's Skye. I'm actually on the Scottish mainland, so a place called Glenelg. So this little village is Glenelg, and I'm looking down. But that song, "Speed Bonny Boat Like a Bird on the Wing Over the Sea to Sky," I've been down to the Glenelg ferry point. I'll be honest, if you had a big run up and a stick, you could probably jump across. You wouldn't have to speed very much in your boat across there. Anyway, it's by the by. Before I get into the video, one thing, a request for help. In a couple of months, I'm off to Tromsø in northern Norway, in the Arctic Circle. Quite excited. It's like proper excited actually. But if anyone knows the area, if any people watching this are from the area, you got any recommendations? I know it's always a bit of a leap of faith and you can't guarantee it. It'd be great to get some recommendations for places to go where I might see the Northern Lights, be the right time of the year. But any other spots that you may have been to or let me know. It'd be great to hear from you. But anyway, the sun is going down over Skye, and I'm hoping for some light in the clouds. But just as it was going down, I was just photographing along the coastline here, mainly because it's a kind of a lovely kind of little village on the edge of the on the edge of the sea, and there was nice light on the hill. So I sat myself up, got my polarizer in. Polarizer just takes some of the sheen off the water, deepens some of the blue in the sky. Got my graduated filter in, a bit of an angle because the stronger light is over there. And my composition is fairly straightforward. Just following these rocks round into the village and then out across the headland. But there's a couple of boats here, so what I hope to do, I'm just going to take, so I've pre-focused. I'm going to take my reading. It's probably a bit too dark, so overexpose a little bit. Take my reading off the sky. I'm going to take an image there, which includes this bit of the coastline. And then, because I like those boats, I always over tighten my, just get to those boats and take another shot there. So hopefully I can stitch those together as a panorama with the village and the boats, kind of looking out across the islands. But as the nice kind of colour coming in the clouds there, I'm going to see if I can find a composition looking in this direction, because a lovely, don't know the name of the mountain, not can look it up, but lovely bit of light over there. So I'll see if I can get a composition in this direction, and then if we get the kind of light in the clouds, I'll do a view across to Skye with the mountains. There's a kind of nice range of mountains there, but that depends on what happens in the clouds. So, and the water is just so clear. Let me jump down and see if we can show you. Wow. Woohoo. Absolutely. There's a jellyfish. Oh, another couple of jellyfish. Quite a lot of jellyfish actually. Moon jellyfish. Don't know if you'll be able to see that, how clear that is. Beautiful. I'm going to try getting an image across this way. So I'm facing the opposite direction from the, so previously I was looking that direction, and I'll just turn to kind of look, and I like kind of the light is shining. In fact, let me show you that. The light is shining. It's that white house in the kind of middle distance. The light is shining above that at the moment, on the mountains behind it. So I've got a composition with these rocks in the foreground. So about a third of the foreground. I'm taking my reading off the clouds because there's nice light here, so hopefully that helps. But I've taken a shot there, and again it's going to be another panorama, because I think if I spin round this way, take an image there, I'll get a nice sweep of these rocks coming round. If in my first shot, let me see if I can show you. My first shot was set like that. So let me see if I can show you on the back here. There's rocks coming okay there, but when I came and took my composition a bit further round, hopefully the rocks will start on the bottom corner a bit better and lead the eye. It depends on how it works out when I stitch the panorama together, but hopefully that works. And there's a it's pure coincidence, but the light on the mountains in the background is matched by, there's a couple of, I don't know if you'll be able to make it out in the video, but there's a couple of streaks in these rocks that match the light. So I can't claim that I planned that, but it's just a kind of one of those nice coincidences. But listen, absolute peace and quiet. Stunning, absolutely stunning. I'm tempted to jump in, but the amount of jellyfish, maybe not. But it's a bit of cloud building. Don't know whether that's going to block the sun out from illuminating kind of these clouds over the mountains of sky, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm loving this. Starting to get a bit of colour in the sky now. So just some oranges showing up. Sorry, just check the time. Midges are starting to come out as well. 9:15, sunset. Technically sunset on the horizon is, I think, 9:35, something like that. So it's about 20 minutes to go until it's down, but obviously it's down behind the mountains already. So what I'm hoping, oh, fish jumping there. What I'm hoping is some of that, as the sun hits the horizon, get some light in the sky. But just had one of those great experiences. So I was doing something with my camera and I heard a noise out in the loch, and looked up, and two porpoise just cruised by, and each time they came up and surfaced, they obviously expelling air and taking a deep breath. Not close enough for me to get any images, but close enough for me to be able to see them. And they just kind of came where this boat is here. When I first saw them, they kind of did a bend and headed up, and I guess they've gone up and are heading round sky. It was amazing to be able to kind of hear them. And the tide is on the way out, so I don't know whether they're kind of hunting on the moving tide or whatever, but it's nice to have that experience. So back to the photography. So what I'm doing at the moment, a bit like in my previous film on Elgol, when I was looking into the Culin, I'm now just looking across at the mountains of Skye, and I think the bigger mountain is something like Ben and Keilech, one of those hard to pronounce Gaelic words, but I'll look it up when I kind of sort out the images. But I'm looking across at that and the colour in the sky, and again I'll be going for that kind of tight crop probably. Maybe not as tight as a 3x1, but relatively tight crop. So I'll take some of the foreground and some of the sky out, depending on what I like. But I'm exposing for the brightest part of the sky, which is just in the kind of the dip between, which actually it's the passageway between Skye and the mainland, but it looks like a dip from here. Just so that turns the mountains into a dark silhouette. Don't really want any detail in the mountains, just want that silhouette. And I'm imagining kind of that as a long image on a wall somewhere, to be honest. But I'm hoping that is a sign of what's to come, because there's some nice pinks in the sky up there. So hopefully, as the sun gets a little bit lower, get it in those clouds above the mountains, which would be nice. Not quite the colour I was hoping for. So the clouds have kind of blown clear. So now above those mountains, it's just clear sky, which is not great. There's a little bit of cloud over there with a little bit of colour, but it's the wrong place. And shooting that way now, there's a big, you could probably see there's a line of cloud which spoils the composition. So what I'm going to do, kill that midgie, is pack up here, head back, but on the way back I'm going to have a look at Eilean Donan Castle, which is lit up It's quite famous, probably the most photographed castle in Scotland after Edinburgh Castle. So you'll have seen plenty of images of it, but might be enough colour in the sky to get a nice image with the castle lit up. So done for here. Absolute beautiful spot, absolutely quiet and still. And then I'll see what the castle looks like when I get there in about half an hour. One of my favourite films, Highlander. It's a good scene here. Can you walk, cousin? I'll bloody well walk out of here. Here, Eilean Donan Castle. So it took me about half an hour to get here from the previous spot. And there's just enough light in the sky to make it worthwhile. The other thing is, I was here the other night and the tide was out. And if I'm honest, when the tide's out, it's not great because you don't get the same reflection. So I'll just show you. Sorry, the midges are awful. Just show you what I'm up to. Going for a kind of a classic view. Castle's on about the rule of thirds. Maybe move it a little bit to the... Oh, I'm just going to do that a little bit. Castle's on about the rule of thirds. Got this nice sky in the background. I'm exposing for the sky. I'm focused on the castle. And it's a couple of seconds. One of the things I've done, when the image is taken, I'll show you. Oh, midges are terrible. I'll put my midge net on in a second. With live view, I've zoomed in on the castle because it's always a bit dodgy of an evening trying to get a good focus, but I've zoomed in on the castle to make sure it's properly in focus, because the last thing you want when you're taking an image of an evening like this is to get a kind of an out of focus shot. So taking a couple of those, I'm just going to wander up a little bit, but I'm going to put a midge net on because I'm getting eaten alive. You can see me. So I've come round the other side of the castle just because I wanted a view of the castle and then looking down the loch. So what I've done, sorry, just bear with me a second. I've done a panorama. So taking my first shot here, I'm taking the reading off the sky again. So that's probably a bit bright. Take my first shot there, and that's going to take a few seconds because obviously it's very dark. I'm not even sure if you can see me at all, but helped by this incredibly still weather. Sorry, midges. So the loch is just like glass. So I've taken the first shot there, just going to spin a little bit to get the view down the loch to the mountains in the distance, where you can just about see because it's that twilight. And what I'm hoping is that turns out into quite a nice panorama. But I'm going to persevere and do a few more, but that'll probably be it in terms of video because I think it's probably too dark for you to see what I'm doing. So I hope you enjoyed that trip over to Glenelg and to Eilean Donan Castle, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.